Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, you know, we've been talking on this channel now for a couple years. Wouldn't it be really cool to have some type of national concealed carry reciprocity? As a matter of fact, one of the most common questions we field here at Washington Gun Law are people going, I'm traveling from state A to state B. Does my concealed carry license work in this state? Or if I'm traveling through these states, and so on and so on. Now, there's been all sorts of attempts and a lot of people who've been puffing their chest out and saying, we're going to pass national concealed carry reciprocity. And we've already talked on a couple of different occasions about other bills that were kicking around in Washington, D.C. to do exactly that. Well, now we sit on the precipice of having control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And so there is a realistic possibility that we could do it. But how are we going to do it? Well, today we're going to introduce you to House Resolution 38, because this, if passed into law, would in fact provide national concealed carry reciprocity for certain people. And there are limitations on it, and I want to talk to you about it, and there's some really, really good things in it too. So today, let's slow it all down, let's geek out on the bill, and let's talk about maybe this is how we get concealed carry reciprocity. So today we're trying to figure out just how effective is StopBox, and the best way to test that is to put it to test with some of our nation's youngest and brightest kids, you know, college kids. So with the help of Gun Law Jr. there behind the camera, we got some of our local kids who are home for Christmas break. Let's see how they do. Okay, so why don't you give me your first name, your university, and what you're studying in?
Yeah, Herbert, UW, engineering, civil.
Eugene, studying computer science at Cal State Fullerton.
My name's Melvin, I'm at WSU and I'm studying mechanical engineering.
Sheldon, UW, quantum physics.
Dude, what's going on here?
You told me to get college kids.
I said college kids. I didn't say engineering majors. I meant like soc, psych, poli-sci, something like that. What's going on?
Science is what I could get.
You need to hang out with dumber friends. All right, gentlemen, this is how this is going to work today. I have here $500. Okay, that'll buy you a lot of beer or pizza or whatever the heck it is you guys spend your money on. One of you gets into this box, the money's yours. Have fun.
I don't know, man, we give up.
You guys are giving up, huh?
Yep, sir.
Really? Okay, well, looks like I get to keep the money, but thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Sheldon, I read that paper you did about variability of measurements in quantum physics.
Oh yeah?
So, man. StopBox. Protect your family while protecting your family. Okay, America, this is what we're talking about today. We are talking about House Resolution 38. It is sponsored by Representative Richard Hudson, Republican out of South Carolina. Now, this bill, if enacted into law, would create national concealed carry reciprocity. But notice I did not say national constitutional carry. And that's going to be the big rub, and that's going to rub some of you the wrong way, is that in order for you to be able to carry in other states other than your home state, one of the things that this bill would require is that you are licensed in your home state. Now, this is how the new law would work. There would be a new section added to 18 United States Code Section 926, specifically subsection D, which would then read as follows. Notwithstanding any provision of the law of any state or political subdivision thereof, except as provided in subsection B and subject only to the requirements of this section, a person who is not prohibited by federal law from possessing, transporting, shipping, or receiving a firearm, who is carrying a valid identification document containing a photograph of the person, and who is carrying a valid license or permit, which is issued pursuant to the law of a state and which permits the person to carry a concealed firearm or is entitled to carry a concealed firearm in the state in which the person resides, may possess or carry a concealed handgun other than a machine gun or destructive device that has been shipped or transported in interstate or foreign commerce in any state that. Okay, very, very wordy, but here's the deal. Did you notice in there that you have to have a concealed carry license from some state? It does not necessarily have to be your own state. A lot of people know that Arizona and Utah concealed carry licenses are very useful in a lot of other states, so that may be where you have a concealed carry license, but this is not constitutional carry. Then, if you have a license in some state, you can carry it in another state so long as that state, one, has a statute under which residents of the state may apply for a license or permit to carry a concealed firearm, or two, does not prohibit the carrying of a concealed firearm by residents of the state for lawful purposes. Okay, well, number two would be blatantly unconstitutional, and even though they have tried that in a few states, that has not yet been successful. But let's take a look at that first restriction right here, because many of you may reside in a state which is now constitutional carry, and for that reason you decide, I don't need a license. And you're right, you don't need a license to carry anywhere inside your state or any other constitutional carry state. But if you want to have the legal authority under this statute, you're going to need a license in some state, which probably explains one of the many reasons why states that have gone to constitutional carry still keep their licensing regimes intact. Now, this piece of legislation also says, hey, listen, if you're in a state and they have certain restrictions on where you can carry firearms, you have to follow that, including private property. Because the bill specifically states, this section shall not be construed to supersede or limit the laws of any state that, one, permit private persons or entities to prohibit or restrict the possession of concealed firearms on their property, or two, prohibit or restrict the possession of firearms on any state or local government property, installation, building, base, or park. And honestly, what you're likely to see in a more finalized version of this is that you will not be able to carry a firearm anywhere where the residents of that state are also not allowed to carry that firearm, gun-free zones and certain places such as that. And of course, as it relates to private property, I have always said that every private property owner has the right to manage their property exactly as they wish. And if it's a business, you have the right as the consumer to choose whether or not you want to do business with them. Well, the law could stop right there, and it would be pretty good. But no, the good representative from South Carolina actually drafted a lot more protections in there for people who may end up in jurisdictions that aren't too keen about this. For example, one of the things that the bill provides for, presentation of a facially valid document as specified in subsection A, is prima facie evidence that the individual has a license or a permit as required by this section. Which means if you can produce your out-of-state concealed carry license and it appears to be valid, that is prima facie proof. That is proof sufficient enough to establish that you were lawfully carrying in that state. But then there's also additional protections, because if you get some state that wants to try to charge you with a crime for having the audacity to defend your life in their state, the bill provides, when a person asserts this section as a defense in a criminal proceeding, the prosecution shall bear the burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the conduct of the person did not satisfy the conditions set forth in subsections A and B. Oh, and if they do try to prosecute you and you are successful in defending yourself, guess what? When a person successfully asserts this section as a defense in a criminal proceeding, the court shall award the prevailing defendant a reasonable attorney's fee. So you get your attorney fees back. Well, guess what? There's even more, because if they try to prosecute you, again, for having the audacity to try to defend your life, well, this bill would subject that state to a pretty simple civil suit. The statute would read, a person who is deprived of any right, privilege, or immunity secured by this section under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or any political subdivision thereof may bring an action in any appropriate court against any other person, including a state or political subdivision thereof, who causes the person to be the subject of the deprivation for damages or other appropriate relief. Now, one little nuance in the bill, and this will probably need some clarification, is what happens if you normally are in a state that allows you to live free like an American, and so you're carrying a 17-round magazine, and you have a concealed carry permit from that state. Now you go to a state like, I don't know, California or something like that, and you want to take your everyday carry, which we already said has 17 rounds. Can you do that? Well, there is language in this bill that suggests that how they define handgun would permit you to do that. And the section I'm referring to states the following. The term handgun includes any magazine for use in a handgun and any ammunition loaded into the handgun or its magazine. And so whether your everyday carry is 15, 17, 20, 30, whatever it may be, it would appear that this law would allow the carrying of that firearm in that other state. Now, this gets into a lot of other issues that we're not going to get into today, otherwise we're going to have a 25-minute video. But is this a good piece of legislation? Yes, it is. Is it going to satisfy all of you? No. I know that some of you really believe that we should have national constitutional carry. I don't disagree with you. But I also understand sometimes from a legislative standpoint, we're going to have to walk before we can run. Is this a step in the right direction? It most definitely is. It is House Resolution 38. It is sponsored by Republican Congressman Richard Hudson of South Carolina. We're going to link it all up down below so that you guys can geek out on it for yourself. Now, listen, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, all you got to do is click on that link right there and let us know all about it. If you want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, America, let's remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.